Hiya, this is a video about universal income, the Green Party, and not just about UBI though, about the Green Party a little bit more beyond UBI, and a new potential for a new left party. Because let's face it, Britain's a total mess, putting it politely, and it's because of the propaganda matrix and decades of neglect, etc., etc. You've heard it all before. Well, the Green Party offer an £89 a week universal basic income. And I think that on the one hand, them offering UBI at all is a strong point of theirs. On the other hand, I find that a bit weak, low level. It would still be a problem of income poverty. And we all know that, and the Green Party are excellent on power in general. I'm going to get to that in a minute. On when it comes to the propaganda matrix, which is all a power and control thing, it's all for power and control, then they're excellent on that. But the thing is that if you leave income inequality as vast, then it's just going to keep re-emerging in some form or other. That has to be dealt with, as well as the obvious tackling centralized power and news media and all that kind of thing. So anyway, first of all, I want to say something that I like about the Greens, because otherwise you might just wonder what you're doing then. Why are you bothering with them at all? I just have to find it. It's just before I find it totally. I'd say that what I'm going to quote just more or less gets across that I think they understand the propaganda matrix because of the sort of solutions that the Greens look for. There's people better than me who've been immersed in green politics to know about the more detailed thoughts and political thinking of Greens that they've mixed with throughout time. I haven't mixed with Greens, so I'm not really qualified to say, but when you look at the way they want to, the principle of devolving power and for local decision making and a decentralized system of governance that they say would lead to a more effective and responsive decision making, greater citizen participation, and its more equitable distribution of power, can't really deny that they want to get away from Westminster. That the kind of that implies to me, with enough confidence to be certain that they believe in decentralising away from Westminster on grounds that they can see that there is some, they might not use these words, but there's a propaganda matrix there. Power corrupts, that kind of thing. You can see a concentration of power, they clearly can. And especially as they sort of like advocate for a more participatory democracy, where decisions are made at the most appropriate level, taking into account the specific needs and circumstances of different regions. More accountability. So in practice, it means from the Greens' perspective, like regional assemblies or regional parliaments, as well as strengthening the devolved parliaments in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. You can see that they're trying to democratise the UK. And yeah, it's similar to where I've gone about people's courts, but we can do it the Green Party's way. I don't mind that, because it's just getting away from the propaganda matrix that counts. I can just see that what the genuine you're going to get. So like it's similar to when I've gone about how megaphones were news media, the billionaire-run multinational such as Murdoch got multiple nations with his media there, and it's billionaire-run because he's a billionaire. And then it's megaphoned out to millions of people. So say in the UK, it's megaphoned out to millions of people. That's not equality of voice. You can see the Greens are striving for the equality of voice. not specifically on news media there, but they're on. You can see how the concentration of power they're trying to get it to local, and I can see that they understand what I say when I go on about how excess power corrupts. So if you only had like local level power, then I'm not saying you can't have corruption there, but it's not that excessive, is it? So you're going to get less power corruption. I can see that. But now I'm just going to go on to the point about universal basic income. I don't think £89 a week's enough. I think it needs to be much higher than that. I think that what I want to do is join the Green Party and like start a faction that is pro UBI Green Party, but is friendly opposition to, because I'm obviously in the Green Party. I'm thinking that most of what they're saying seems like it understands the propaganda matrix. And from there, we can, as a faction within the Green Party, I still have a problem. I think the Green Party are far too small to be a national party. You know, when I say national, I mean like a large party. To give a comparison within the state superstructure system types, like the Heseltine and Nick Balls like the idea of calling themselves national liberals. There's like a kind of national centrist liberal party that, and then you think, right, okay, why were neither of them a liberal Democrat? And I think the answer is because both saw them as too small, not because the principles or policies were wrong for them. So that's interesting. That, of course, now probably I would have done, yeah. But anyway, I think the Greens need to be bigger. So what I'm thinking is, as well as a faction within the Greens, I'm then waiting for the collapse of the two Tory parties, which I regard as the Sunak Tories and the Starmer Tories. When they collapse, then something's got to give, right? Something's got to open up for us. And that could be a chance for the left per se. Now you see, the Greens, although they advocate UBI, I'm just suspicious of the £89 a week thing, because capitalism is a vast wealth creating system. We can redistribute wealth and income on a massive scale. I'm not a communist. I believe in effective distribution of goods across a wide area as a market of non-essentials. If a nation like North Korea, what they should do as the first thing is to allow the big brands from the West to go in there and to establish themselves there. But then whether it's North Korea or the UK, we then need to redistribute that wealth. The wealth is for people per se, it's not just for the cliques at the top. And universal basic income is the obvious way to do that. It's the obvious way, and these silly arguments. But what do people do with the money? Could say that for the billionaires, they're wasting it on yachts. You see what I mean? So it's the same sort of thing, and they might be buying drugs. No one's bothered about that. So, and I am not saying that poor or rich are going to waste money anyway. So it's not our business. It's none of anyone's business how people spend them. Anyway, don't want to go on about that. It's silly. So the idea is that we get capitalism redistributes. You have a market, you have capitalism, but then it redistributes massively. You could call me on the far left of social democracy. I'd accept that as a description. So, like, I wouldn't mind taking public spending up to 80% plus, because it's not, I've never got a fetish for a figure, but it obviously has to be extremely high. Because the wealth is only being, and income's only being created to distribute it. So I wouldn't, why would I have a problem with high public spending? It's just like inevitable if capitalism creates vast wealth and vast inequality, then it's by distributing the wealth and income that you get society sorted out properly. And if you just leave it as it is, or if you just don't do it enough, if you leave vast differences in power, then you get corruption. You get that power becomes corrupting, and you manipulate, and you do everything I say about the propaganda matrix. See my other videos that just wreck society for anyone, and it possesses minds, it manipulates minds, it all goes to pot. So my starting and end point's health, whereas propaganda matrix starting and end point is power and control. It's all about the narrative. It's all about narrative all the time. You can have a healthy narrative or you can have propaganda. I much prefer the healthy stuff. Now, what is that organisation? There's a new organisation. Organisation is the right word, I'm not sure. That is trying to establish a new left party. I'm just trying to find it on my Twitter. No. Or X as it's now known. Nearly there, people. Nearly there. Ah, here we are. They're called Transform Politics. Ah, I've got me. Now, their website address for their frequently asked questions page, anyway, is https https / transform politics UK / FAQ / I should see who's behind Transform. Who is behind Transform is the first question there, and it's Transform's call for a new left party is currently coordinated by a working group comprising representatives of the leadership teams of the Breakthrough Party, Left Unity and Liverpool Community Independence, as well as former Labour MP Thelma Walker. As support for Transform grows, we plan to expand this into a larger steering group. I'll answer another there. I'll read out another question and answer theirs. The second one, is there an intention to formally set up a party, register with the Electoral Commission and fight in the next general election? The answer is yes. We intend to officially found Transform as a political party, register with the Electoral Commission and contest seats in the next general election. For details, please sign the call to receive email updates. I'll keep reading a bit more. When will you have a founding conference? Those who sign Transform's call for a new left party will receive email updates regarding next steps, including a timeline towards the official founding of Transform later this year. Who will lead this new party? The Transform call is currently coordinated by a working group comprising representatives of the leadership teams of the Breakthrough Party, Left Unity and Liverpool Community Independence, as well as former Labour MP Thelma Walker. Once the party is officially founded, leadership elections will take place in line with a constitution voted for by party members. Now, talk about uniting the left. any other questions and answers. They're definitely a class party. It says Britain is in the final sentence of the frequently asked questions, on their final answer to the final question. It says Britain is sorely lacking a party of and for the working class that will fight for an eco-socialist response to the climate crisis. That's why it says why not join or vote for the Green Party. It says that the Greens aren't actually a class party, but they do seem to be friendly to the Greens, because they say while the Green Party have some policies which socialists could tend to support, they are not a party of the left, which I take as a class-based left. Their politics is not shaped by an analysis of class. I think that the Greens are part of the left, but that maybe is what I was saying before about the redistribution of wealth and income might be lacking when I think of the UBI is £89, but then the redistribution of power, it's sort of like, it's semi there. It depends how you look at it. I can see the Greens are left, but also I can see their point about them not being so much to the left. I've explained what I am about far left of social democracy. And when I see the Transform talking about Greens not having a class analyst, well, a lot of that power stuff about decentralisation is linked to that, so it's hard to say. I'm not saying that the Greens should dominate. That new party of the left that's going to come about should incorporate the Greens. So as it says, some of their policies are liked by Transform, and I think that the party of the left needs to be a large party, so it needs to not split itself. So it needs the Greens in there. It needs the left of the Labour Party. It needs to take them away from Labour. Labour can just join up with the Tories, I think. Might as well. Well, they are, or the Tories join up with the Tories is the better way to put that one. Just become one. Like, call themselves the old lot, who you've all given up on. And their logo should be a hand waving. Bye. Because, symbolising that they're invite us because they're not with us. So, I'm going to start a faction for pro-UBI, Green, and then anticipate a crash of the Tory parties, Starmer's Tories, Sunak's Tories, and a crash, hopefully, and we have an analyst of the state superstructure as a whole. See, for example, see all my August papers. Anyone who wants to know more about me, I'll just send you all my videos that I've done this month to you in one email, which is quite a lot of videos, but I'll send you all of them. And I'm like Caitlin. I'm similar to Caitlin Johnston, a nudge to the right of her. Caitlin Johnston, the Australian journalist, she says narrative matrix. I took that up and called it propaganda matrix. I like her disruptive culture wars paper. I like everything she does mostly. If there was we're not in the system, of course, so much. But like, imagine if there was a hung parliament situation in the UK, and Caitlin Johnson had a party. I'd have one very closely related, and that would be the party I'd go into coalition government with. I'd have to compromise, perhaps. But she's brilliant. I'm not comparing myself to her. She is super, super duper smart. Really, really good. The knowledge about the empire, she's brilliant. She's just such a good writer. Anyway, I want to get back to the point. I started factions within the Greens for universal basic income. then after the next general election, both Tory parties get smashed, because the Sunak Tories will get smashed because they'll be split all over the place, and because there's already, you can tell that split all over the place, that's just all going to come out into the open, and they're just going to literally split. Starmer's Tories, same thing, but Starmer's Tories will split because the left aren't going to put up with this bloody Tory party. Why should they? They're a million miles different from each other. It's like asking Newcastle United to put up with Sunderland. They're not going to happen. So why bother, pretending otherwise? You know what I mean? They're opposites. They're not the same thing. They're opposites. So they're going to split as well. And then I'll say thank you. We'll take all of them. Pull all the left ones to us. That's where we come in. We need to educate some. I have to remember that quite a lot of people are just brainwashed from the propaganda matrix. Propaganda is meant to brainwash people. So we'll also be pulling ex-Tories here. I mean, because people who have been brainwashed by something that is like a modern day bloody Roman Empire, it's bound to happen, isn't it? The whole point is to brainwash people. That's what a propaganda matrix is for, why it exists, what it does. As I said, my starting point is health, and my starting and end point is health. Propaganda matrix starting and end point is power and control. So like that is going to happen. People are going to become brainwashed. So when we talk about bringing all the left to us and uniting them, I agree with that. But we're also going to pull ex-Tories over, people who regarded themselves as Tories, because they're going to be educated. We're going to educate them on how they've been brainwashed by the propaganda matrix. It's true, so we should do it. It's not. I can imagine some people say it's patronising, but it's not patronising. I've once been brainwashed. No one starts off with an independent mind, free from. We're all born into stuff. We even speak the language we do because we're born into it. So it's not patronising. I didn't feel patronised for getting more consciously aware that I'd been brainwashed. It's no different with other people. They're just going through the process I've been through. That's all that is. So it's not only is it not patronising, it's also good for their health. It's good for society's health if we overcome a propaganda matrix. Well, not only are we propaganda matrix, they also accept the word oligarchy. Quite clearly, Britain's an oligarchy. Billionaires own the politicians, billionaires own the news media, billionaires own the people's minds. They're the ones who do all the propaganda. Then the politics, like the cartel, the billionaires, the politicians, the government, Westminster news media, which is also a multinational, billionaire owned. It's all like a cartel for the clique. And the propaganda is staying that power. You can't do it without propaganda. You can't just tell the truth that they're propagandists and don't mind us for being nasty. We don't like you and we would send the army out to kill you if you saw through us. Not going to say that. You have to do it a propaganda way. You have to come across as fine. And you also have to it's good to discuss other stuff as well beyond politics, just so it shows that you're. And to be honest, when they discuss stuff beyond politics, they might be being normal. I admit that politicians might, and billionaires even, might genuinely support football teams and have pop culture interests that I have. But their power, that doesn't mean anything. That just because they can reach out with that, they can't reach out with the stuff that matters, can they? The true stuff that matters about power and control. They have to pretend that not only are they normal about supporting, Aston Villa Football Club and watching dramas, they also have to come across as normal on the power and control stuff, and that's their downfall. Because they're propagandists and they only care about themselves. They're not reaching out on that at all. So set up a faction within the Greens, the Green Party, general election, collapse of the main parties. I mean, Stan will win it, but then his party will become split. Take massive amount of the left, and we also take ex-conservatives who start to see through all the shit that once believed in. That comes to us, and then the Greens, I just think, are just a good example of a party that sort of then has to join with a new united anti-power, anti-state superstructure, anti-establishment party of the people sort of thing. And so then hopefully because of this stuff about how other parties are maybe more class-based than the Greens, they should be accepting a higher level UBI that hopefully enough people in the Greens have been persuaded to accept anyway. Especially as we're a bit further on, maybe that tech stuff comes into play. It influences UBI. So that new left party then has to become the main party of the UK. And has to educate people on power and control and propaganda matrix stuff. No more can that happen. I mean, once we get past the next election, people have to be able to understand the state as a whole. Just like, so the party politics is only the tip of the iceberg. Most of the iceberg's below the water. It's capitalism. It's a news media, the vast news media I was going about. It's the and it's the military, which with the propaganda seen through, the military is what the state would start against its people, would kill its own people to preserve the state superstructure's propaganda matrix. Right. So, just to conclude, start a new faction within the Green Party, the UBI, high level UBI. We've already got UBI on as a policy, but high level, please. Then from there, the election, from there, the collapse of the two main parties, and then a new left party, which also takes from the old right, because we start to educate people about propaganda matrix. And that new party, therefore, it becomes a big party. It's a big one. It's not just a little one like the Greens, and it also understands the state as a whole. And in that understanding that state, it centralizes, spreads the power out there, so that power doesn't corrupt anymore. So, for example, the top of the news media isn't at the national and international level, and megaphones everywhere to millions of people. The top of the news media is just the local news, which isn't, I think, is quite innocent. It's not guilty of propaganda. People tend to trust the local news more for that reason, because they get that sense. They get that sense of the sense that it's not, because the contrast feels different. So then people might be brainwashed, but they're not totally brainwashed, if you know what I mean. They get a feeling that there's something fishy about the national news media, especially the newspapers, and they do not get the same feeling from their local news. I think I've got my point across So I think I'll end the video there.